And I think we're live. All right. Welcome, everyone. Coach K, today we're going to be doing our live trading right after this AMA. So don't go anywhere. Stay for the whole thing. You're going to want to know about this project called Ixswap. Basically, this is the Uniswap of security tokens and tokenized stocks. Now, sounds like, okay, yeah, sure, we've heard it all before, but that's why I want to do an AMA, because a lot of people saw my post and were like, nah, I don't believe you. I don't think it's real. And so many people told many of us about Uniswap that it wasn't real and it would never add the liquidity, and it did. So, welcome. It's great to have you here today. Maybe, Julian, give people a little bit of a background about yourself, and then what is IXSwap?
Sure. Thanks, Coach K. I really appreciate you being here and everyone who's taking the time out of their days. Yeah, in short, IXSwap is the seventh venture that I've started. So I'm originally from Australia. I've been based in Singapore for the last 7 years and China for 13 years before that. I've started social media, real estate projects, blockchain projects, fintech platform. And actually, what led us down sort of this path, and in 2017, we'd already had a crowdfunding platform, and we were quite disappointed with the sort of the layer of technology there, and looked at tokens, and saw a world where all assets would be tokenized: real estate, startups, VCs. We wanted to be one of the first platforms to focus on that. So that Investor X platform, which is licensed in Singapore, went out and embarked on a mission to get broker-dealer license and exchange license, custody partners and solutions, to offer an end-to-end solution, so you could launch a security token for any asset and you'd have a place to trade it, place for investors to buy it, and all of the things that are needed. Now, the short history of security tokens, which has left a lot of the guys in the crypto world disappointed, in 2017 was the very first STOs. They were actually just failed ICOs. They couldn't raise money, so they said, let's call it an STO. Quality of the security was very poor, didn't make a lot of sense. They talked about liquidity for liquid assets. There was no liquidity venues. There were no custodians. There was no liquidity solutions. So that was the beginning of the industry. And at the same time, the SEC was running around chasing down these ICOs, calling them securities, and everyone had left a bit of a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Anyway, fast forward 2018, 19, 20, you have legitimate groups in great, the right types of jurisdictions, and New York and London and Singapore and Hong Kong, et cetera, Japan, Tokyo, spending the necessary time, which takes a couple of years to get these licenses and build the technology. So the big difference today in 2021 is you have all the key infrastructure pieces that were not there in the last couple of years. And the whole industry is a few years old, but everyone in crypto is pretty impatient. So everyone expected security tokens to start 2017 and just to explode. And everyone forgot that Bitcoin launched in 2008, and it really started exploding for the second or third time in 2017, and again this year. So what does that all mean in summary? All the key infrastructure is now laid. So any person or group or business that wants to launch a security token can actually do it now. And the industry's young and growing. But the last piece of infrastructure missing from the security token industry is a liquidity solution. And as to your point about Uniswap, the volume trading on DEXs in general was almost zero up until Uniswap came along. And it's the same situation for security tokens. So there was obviously infrastructure for decentralized trading of crypto, but there was no liquidity solution. So why would you go there to buy and sell anything? Because there was nobody there. So along came Uniswap. We all know that story, a complete explosion of trading volume. I think DEXs did like 150 billion in Q1, if I'm not wrong. Literally from zero. So where does that lead? That led us to the development of the IXSwap platform. So in parallel to the Uniswap model, IXSwap has been positioned and built to provide liquidity pools and AMMs for the entire security token industry. It's the number one largest, biggest problem in security token industry. You now have exchanges, you now have broker dealers, you have OSL in Hong Kong, Archax in London, T0 in New York, Investor X in Singapore, and other players. And no one actually has had a liquidity solution yet. So along we came with IXSwap. We mirror the Uniswap type model. The difference is, to trade security tokens, you'll need to have licensed partners. So IXSwap is a DeFi platform. The IXS token is a utility and governance token. It is not an STO. It operates just like the Uni token does on Uniswap. And Uniswap's already started partnerships with licensed custodians and licensed security token platforms, because that's where the trading will take place.
Mm.
And that's the innovation. And I think the last thing is, what people don't really think about when they look at Uniswap is, you have your Binances and your Coinbases and all your largest exchanges, and for argument's sake, they list all the biggest coins. But thousands of other projects that start, well, everything starts small. Uniswap gave them a home and a solution to create the first liquidity pools for those altcoins, big, small, ugly, beautiful, whatever they were. And it allowed the issuers of those altcoins to create the first liquidity pools. And that's why the volumes exploded and all these projects were given life. So Ixswap does the same thing. It allows any security token issuer to start the first liquidity pool. And that's the big game-changing solution as well. That's why, yes, the volume and issuance and trading has been very, very low to date, but we think we now have the solution that will explode, and it's going to be protocol agnostic, security token partner agnostic, custodian agnostic, and we're super excited to be working on this project.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting. Like the whole idea of STOs. I was on stage, I think it was like February 2018. And it was with a couple people from like Huddle VC and it was like Kingsley Avani from Chain, one of those funds, but a really big fund out of LA. And everyone was on stage and they were saying, yeah, I think like next year STOs are going to be big. And I was like, yeah, there's no infrastructure, there's no liquidity, there's nothing. It's going to be 5 years. That was like 3 years ago and a bit. I still
Yep.
think like probably another year and then we'll be almost ready. Like now, like you said, there's infrastructure, there's legal, people know like legally how they can actually navigate through it. They can do it in a cost effective way now because it was just as expensive as doing an IPO. So what was the point of doing an STO before? So
Yes. Yes.
so like the benefits have to obviously offset the cost, and like if it costs the same, it didn't make sense. So I knew it would take time and infrastructure need to be built, but also like regulatory frameworks around the world, because how does like if you buy it in like Canada or you buy it in Asia, is there any difference? How does that work? So it's great to see like all that stuff kind of developed. But
Yeah.
I kept my eyes on like things like I think it's T0, and they haven't really done anything. Things have just been slow. Like there's a way to do it, but there's no
Mhm.
liquidity. And I
Yep.
guess maybe how do you guys address that liquidity? Because like I know how Uniswap does it, but maybe the viewers don't. How do you guys basically take some project? I remember one of them was done it was Aspen Coin. They're in Colorado. That was the first one in the U.S. that was ever done. How do they get liquidity? Because that was the thing I had asked the founders. I was like, how do you guys provide liquidity after the fact? Okay, now I
Yeah.
bought it, but then what do I do with it? So yeah, maybe you could explain how this will actually help with the liquidity, help with getting people to actually trade these securities, and how can you do that as well in a regulated, way that doesn't cause problems with the overseeing bodies around the world.
Yeah. So first of all, I think that's one thing that you need people working on this project that come from a capital markets background and
Mhm.
understand rules and regulations. And we've got some fantastic people on it. One of the co-founders is an ex-US lawyer. So first of all, you have to understand how the rules are for securities. Blockchain's going to create amazing value for the capital markets and the financial markets, but it doesn't mean you can just stop following the rules. So when you think about um, what Uniswap allowed. Uniswap created a situation where let's call it random token, ABC token that is worth very little money that no one knows about, that's not listed anywhere. And that actually represents what a lot of security tokens will look like when they begin. Because if you think about when we talk about security tokens, we talk about tokenizing a share of your company, a startup, a real estate fund, a VC fund, any kind of asset, actually. Um, and what actually is super interesting about Uniswap is the trading system is kind of an OTC type platform, right? There's no kind of order book and matching engine system. Um, and that's because, again, these assets are not kind of massive and huge price discovery and millions of buyers yet. They're smaller and they might be obscure and the valuation might be harder to kind of find. So What IXSwap built essentially was not really an exchange in the traditional sense of interactive, NASDAQ or order books and matching engines. It built an online OTC platform, but it's called an exchange, where there's someone wants to sell something, you put up the price, and someone wants to come along and agrees on the price that they can buy that. Again, no order books and matching engines per se. So what I think Uniswap did was it basically looked, I guess, to try to understand it from the audience's view. When tokens are big, they live on Binance, and there's an order book and a matching engine and an exchange. When tokens are small, they live on Uniswap, and there's small liquidity pools, but there's some form of trading, and then there's some form of price discovery, and that token begins its life as a traded asset. So IXSwap is serving this side of the security token space, where any asset or fund or share of a company could be tokenized. The guys or girls behind that issuance of that STO can start the first liquidity pool, staking some STOs and staking some crypto and stable coins to create that first pool. And of course, then sharing in the market, making fees of that particular asset on trading. So that's how we try to simplify it and get everybody to understand that, in the security token space, you will still have the same situation you have in crypto. Eventually, all the assets are tokenized. The biggest ones are in exchanges. There's traditional market makers making them, and they operate more like a stock of Apple or something. But there's going to be actually a bigger universe of them operating on platforms like IXSwap for the millions and billions of different assets around there that are not even really big enough to get into a traditional exchange, but still want to trade, still want listing, still want a form of liquidity, and a very low cost way of doing it. And they're a way for anyone who owns those STOs to participate in those liquidity pools. So that's
the whole idea of like tokenizing everything. It's like you couldn't do it before, but like now you can do it with a framework, and it's not going to cost you so much. So even if you're a smaller, $30 million business that probably would never go public, kind of can now. You kind of give people the ability to support your business early or later, whenever you want. You can sell a little bit more of your equity, right? So it gives you as a business owner even the ability to make a token, buy it all, and then hold it all and be the sole owner of your own business, or find ways to incorporate other ways to be involved, other people to be involved. And how you do it is by giving them some equity tokens. Or you can, go kind of public as a smaller mid-tier business. Maybe you have $100 million business. You want to go public. Now you can basically and just trade it, and everyone can trade your equity tokens, right? Or you can make your stocks. Like that's also the other side. You can take a stock and tokenize it. You can make your own company into kind of like a stock, basically, through a token. So it really will enable people to tokenize everything. And I think IXSwap is like doing something that is a lot of people have trying to do. Like there's a lot of people who tried to figure it out. But the question I have, I think a lot of people are going to ask is KYC. How do you guys do that as being decentralized, obviously? How are you guys going to do that so that you don't have any issues like later with authorities and or regulators?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think the first thing to realize is that, anyone who's trading significant crypto on a centralized crypto exchange that's in the top 10, let's say, has a basic fundamental KYC, especially if you want to go up the trading tiers, right? So maybe 10 years ago and 5 years ago, the concept of KYC in crypto was a hugely negative concept. Until like scam after scam after scam, everyone's like, you know what, if I'm going to trade somewhere, I'd rather it be on, most people, I should say, I'd rather be on a platform where there's a call line. And if something goes wrong, maybe I'll get some support. So the point of that story is there's basic KYC now across any crypto, and it's becoming very much similar to the KYC for STOs. Now, STOs are sold to different types of investors, institutions, accredited and sophisticated investors, and retail investors, and they have slightly different KYC systems, but there's just a basic framework in place. Whether you're in Singapore or America or London, there's a similar kind of KYC process, and that's all becoming quite automated. There's a lot of startups that have been attacking that KYC process just to make it sort of one button, one push,
Yeah.
and that continues to evolve. So the KYC thing is pretty much standard in crypto, I would say, these days. The other thing is, if you want to buy a security token, the best way for the audience to think about it is if you, me, and one of the audience owned a startup and we tokenized it, right? We want to sell an STO. Well, the one thing we probably want to know at all times is who's the fourth shareholder, right? We don't just want to sell it to anyone. First of all, you want to know who they are, just because that's just natural human instinct. Second of all, we need to know that they're not going to hurt the business. They're not criminals, illegal. They're not from a competitor just stealing our information. So we do basic KYC on them anyway. So whether you're buying a security token, big, small, real estate, or a startup, there's a fundamental basic requirement for KYC, not just from a legal system, but because the owners want to know what's going on. And that's just a fundamental truth. So
Absolutely.
with all that in mind, you'll be able to stake crypto on the Ixswap platform with no KYC because that's legally allowed. However, if you want to stake an STO, you would have already owned that STO. So you would have already bought it from a platform and you would have already done the KYC. And so that's already been done. So there's a misplaced misunderstanding, I would say, in the crypto universe that security tokens are bad because there's KYC. That's like saying owning anything in the securities world is bad because you had to tell them who you are.
Yeah,
It's like,
equity,
all right,
right?
give me all your shares of all your stocks and all your houses and everything, because if you don't want to tell anyone who you are, then you don't deserve to own it. So what it means with us is, if you're staking STOs, Ixswap has started with 2, and it's moving through many, onboarding these custodians that are licensed to custodize STOs. So they partner with Ixswap, and when you stake those STOs, they're being staked by a partner that's integrated with Ixswap, that's legally allowed to hold those security tokens because they're securities. And then the same on the other side, where there's trading, Investor X, or maybe it's crypto exchanges doing tokenized stocks, or whoever it is, their broker dealers, exchanges, they're partnered with Ixswaps for the trading. And then we've worked out the architecture to make all of that in sync. So it's UX, UI, the user experience is going to replicate as close as possible to the simplicity of Ixswap, whilst making sure that it's legally compliant, because the investors staking the STOs also want to make sure that they're staking it with a custodian that doesn't vaporize and their securities tokens disappear up in smoke as well. So, so that's a bit long-winded, but it's an important point because I think there's so much misguided negativity around KYC from the crypto universe that doesn't necessarily make sense. But on the same side of it, anyone can buy IXS token. It's a utility governance token. It itself is not a security token. It's the native token of the platform. And that will trade as a digital asset like any other crypto. We will be making many use cases and driving the value of the IXS forward with rewards, bonus schemes, certain vaults. We do have a burning mechanism as well. And over time, as we get more and more security token issuers and those issuances get larger and larger, we will try to reward those issuers who use IXS as much as possible, even as a pairing mechanism for their STO, with rewards to drive the value of that IXS token as it grows. So the more STOs that get staked, the more STOs that come to the platform, we really strongly believe there's incremental growth of the IXS token in value. And I think the last thing I'd say, because I've been talking too much, is a lot of the other DeFi projects have all moved up and down with the price of all the other crypto, because they're all crypto. IXS is one of the first DeFi platforms that connects a key infrastructure to centralized exchanges where security token trading takes place. So we think that will also stabilize the price as well, because a lot of it is connected to the security token assets and that are much more stable in value fluctuate a lot less, I should say, than crypto assets.
So a couple questions from the audience. Someone asked about us to talk about how do people tokenize assets and equity tokens. Maybe you could just do a quick overview on that. I don't think you need to delve into it too deep, but just the overview of how they would do that.
Yeah, I think, well, in simplicity, you'd have a certain asset, or let's just say a certain investment. So whatever it is, it's $1 million fund or a $10 million fund, and there's $1 million shares or whatever is decided by the group issuing the security token. And then you look at the fundamental characteristics of that investment. Can it trade? Can it not trade? Does it need permissions, etc.? These are all normal kind of securities characteristics of any particular security. And then you work out how to program that into the tokens to represent, the shares of that asset or fund. So a lot of it at the moment, I don't want to complicate the world, but what users should also understand is that the current landscape of security tokens is actually more of tokenizing something like a fund, a company, shares. So it's a token representation of a paper share. And that's also been one of the reasons why the industry's taken a little bit of time to get up on its feet. So that's one form of security tokens. What's just as exciting, because that's the existing world of securities, it's a $7-8 trillion market. It's expected to double in the next 5 years, so says McKinsey. So it's a much, much bigger market than the public markets. But the second interesting point is governments around the world and key governments from investment jurisdictions, Delaware, Switzerland, Germany, Singapore as well, they are now aware that using blockchain and distributed ledger technology is a much better way for them to manage all of the funds and the companies that get issued in their country, right? An immediate digital ledger, who are the owners, the directors, the shareholders, much more efficient, much better system. So they're now actually sanctioning the very first purely digitally native securities, the very, very first paperless security tokens, let's call it them. And they're coming into effect right now. So when people who really think about the belief in, tokenizing everything, you're now seeing the leading governments around the world doing away with paper, which means that every share, every security, whether you like KYC or not, whether you like Ixswap or not, will become a security token. It's already happening. And that's fascinating. But that's the two sides of it, because we still have an entire $8-9 trillion private markets of securities in paper that need to be tokenized. And then you have all the new funds and companies coming out in the leading jurisdictions that are coming out as security tokens, which is all very exciting and all very robust for Ixswap's growth plans.
Great. So anyone else have any other questions before we let them go? Let me know if anyone has any questions. So I think like my questions are basically answered because I already did my research. So I think all of you guys should take the time to do your research, because listening to this is one thing, but actually diving into the documentation, which is in the description, as well as their Telegram and Twitter. So if you guys want to go and follow them and learn a little bit more, please do that. But also look into the white paper that's there, the website, etc., and get more out of it. Basically, try to learn what it is, because if you understand and you believe in the whole concept of tokenizing everything, basically it's as simple as this: you believe in what this project is doing. And like that's why I invested in it. Be very transparent, I did. And I think it's something that can definitely be a real big player for liquidity, which is the whole problem with the STO industry right now. No one has figured this out. If this figures it out, you guys have seen what happened with Uniswap. So just keep that in mind. This is how I was thinking about it when I put my capital in. Yeah. Any other questions, guys, just before we go? Oh, I can get can we get in contact for further insight? Of course you guys can get in contact for further insight. Twitter, Telegram, I'm sure they'll be very active in there. Is there anywhere else they can contact you guys?
Yeah, I think you've posted all the major links, Telegram and Twitter. Telegram's probably our most active and most instant response channel. But yeah, if the audience, we'd love the support. We appreciate all your time, and Coach K, investor in the project, I think, very smart guy, very balanced approach to how you're seeing things. Agree to your own research. We'd love more support. We're trying to grow our community.
A couple of questions actually just came in. One of them is, you announced Investex as partners. Are there any more from the traditional space?
Yeah, well, we've just signed up the first licensed custodian for Ixswap, which is called First Digital, headquartered out of Hong Kong. And we actually have about 5 or 6 other STO platforms and custodians that we're speaking with right now
Nice.
about the project.
Awesome. And the last question that someone had was, how do you invest? How would they, if they want to get involved or invest? Is there a public sale? Where is it? When is it? Any of those types?
Yeah, that's all very much in the planning. We're hoping it's not too far out. If you join the Ixswap Telegram channels, we'll be making all those updates and announcements on a daily basis. We'd love to have you guys join us and appreciate all your time and efforts.
Awesome. So that's it. So
All
thanks
right.
so much for your time. We'll
Appreciate
get you in.
that.
We'll get you on after I come back from the US, obviously, because I probably won't be doing very many videos, guys. For you who or whoever's watching, I'll be away for a month. So if I'm gone, don't miss me too much. But when I come back, I have a really big plan to get all the founders of a lot of the projects that I've been around, involved with, advising, and bring a lot of them on and actually get conversations, not just about what they're doing, but about the space and getting more, more founders talking about not just their projects, but actually talking about their perspectives on the space. I think it needs to happen more often in our busy lives. We forget to actually talk about something else, and I've worked with projects as a team member. I'm still passionate about other stuff in the space, so I think it'd be really cool to have those types of talks.
Love to help with anything related. And thanks again for having a safe trip. And we hope to catch up again soon.
Cheers. It's great having you on.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. I'm right here. Got to get my my connection right back here. Oh my. Give me 1 second. Oh no, my camera's not going to show, guys. Okay, well, we'll do this without me on cam. I don't think oh, there it works. Okay. See, sometimes I do figure this out. I want to know, guys, if you smash on some likes, because I don't see enough. I only see like 30 and there was 100 of you here. Smash on some likes. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet, because we're about to go dive into what's going on with Bitcoin, and that's why you guys are all here. So now we got that sorted out. Let me get my charts on the screen and let's start looking at some gaming coins, because you guys know as well as I do right now that they are hot like fire. Right. Okay, so here's what we're looking at today. We're going to start with a beautiful chart and the ones that you guys like, right? So, oh, no, that's not the right one. Hold on a sec. Sorry, when I do these live feeds, I use OBS, and then sometimes it just... Okay, I think I got it now. Into the charts we go. How's everyone doing? You guys been? Unhappy? Let me just tell you something. I'm glad you guys were here for this interview, but like straight up, very interesting project. I invested into it a while back, and when you invest in projects, like a lot of people get mad about pre-sales and stuff, but like sometimes I'm investing, I don't even see a token for months, sometimes half of a year, sometimes longer. So it's just, the reality is like, if you're okay with waiting that long, then it's cool. When the market's really hot, we all are like, yeah, it's awesome and stuff. And everyone wants to get in, but when the market's not hot, it's like, that's the problem. All right, TA, or was it because of the Amazon rumor? Honestly, I think the Amazon rumor pushed a lot of the market higher when it really wasn't. It wasn't deemed necessary, in my perspective. So let's just kind of jump in and look at what happened with the market. And look at what I drew on my chart before this even happened. Now, if you guys go back to a video that I did on YouTube way back, we should just do that, because you know what? A lot of people in this world talk a lot. What's up, everyone? Right? But what they don't do is they don't show you when they're wrong, when they're right. So I want to show you guys one thing that I did, that one of my members in my own group told me, you need to go back to this video. So it was a video where I talked about if Bitcoin was going to choose, which side was it going to choose? And I'm trying to find this one right here, Breakout right now. I just want to kind of go back to that really quickly to show you guys this little line in my video. Now, if you go on the date and you look here, it says the 26th of July 21. Now, if you go and you actually watch this video, you'll actually hear me say that that was the time, the date, the most important pinnacle. That if we were going to go bullish, and we go, okay, I'm going to buy down here, I'm going to sell here, here, and if it goes higher, I'll sell higher or I'll hold it, right? You have to have a plan. So if you bought here, your first sell should be this level, right? Your second should be there. Your third should be there. Those are your 3 targets, right? And if you short from up here, there's your first target, there's your second target, there's your third target. It's like you could have been playing this how many times now? That's what I want you guys to do. I want you to make money. So how do I know what's coming next for Bitcoin? There's a lot of people have been asking me over and over again, are you bullish, coach? Are you bearish, coach? I'm like, bro, I don't change every single day. So let's be keeping it real here. Our volume on the weekend, a little bit better, but what's our volume telling us? It's not really that strong. It's not super strong, right? So we have the Kumo top acting as resistance on the 2. So go back to that video. The reason why I'm showing you it, the reason why I'm talking about that is because I said July 26th would be the day that we have to have something happen. It needed to happen around that date. Talked about this many times on my chart, actually. Now, here is July 26th, 2021. Can you see what happened on July 26th, 2021? We short squeezed the F out of people. Now, if you looked on Binance yesterday, you would notice that that wick went all the way up here. That's what we call a short squeeze. Now, what a short squeeze means is there are a lot of people that are short. And what they do is they force the market up and wick them out of their stop losses one after the other after the other. And as their stop losses engage, they close a position, dropping the price even more, causing the cascading effect to happen. But instead, they have to buy instead of sell because they're short. So they have to buy, they have to buy, they have to buy as they get stopped out. Well, guess what happens? The market drives higher. And if we have a lot of leverage, it drives way higher. So what happened on Binance? It drove super high. But now, what do you think is going to happen next? Now, Bitcoin 20K, we have to not focus on that now. We have to focus on our range because this range, you remember this range I talked about lasting probably 2 months till we crack into the cloud? We're still in the range. Came up to that 40K level that we came to before. We rejected it. Rejected the Kumo top, the Kumo bottom, sorry. We rejected this level. We also rejected the 200 EMA, right? So what I'm seeing happen here, and what happens a lot, is we usually reject, we might come back up and reject off the 200 EMA again, and then likely come back down to this green zone, which is why I have it on my chart. The reason why I have this on my chart over here is because that is an area, a pinnacle area where we likely come back to. So usually it will bounce, it might bounce off the chart, or it also could just go sideways, come back down here, come bounce over here, and then drop back and then pop in. But in general, I don't like entering a trade when it goes sideways into the cloud because it doesn't tell us a clear direction that it's actually pushing higher or pushing lower. It just tells us that we're going sideways. Now, we're going to watch the volume on this as well for Bitcoin because today's volume is quite low and it's Monday and Asia's been awake for a whole entire day and they have no volume, meaning whales were not buying in Asia at all today. Almost at all. It's 5:30 p.m. here. It means China's done, Japan's done. Like Asia's done. Their whole entire day was done and nothing really happened. So America's gonna have the chance to wake up in 3 hours and open and see how that works. See. Short like Alex Saunders. I feel bad for Alex, but if he really did scam people, I don't feel bad. So, if you're a good person, you always do the right thing. I hope he does. All right. Now, before this squeeze happened, yes, but 1 billion liquidated in 2 days. Definitely. There's no one like a backhand on Telegram. He is the best. He helped me recover. Sure, he did. Victoria is a fake person. Do not listen to Victoria. All right. Now, let's get back into the chart. So we see what's going on with Bitcoin. What's going to happen next? Well, we're not really looking super bullish. Okay, so this could be bullish, but I want to see a bigger retracement. That was a nice one, came to the zone, the sell zone actually. And then now it's dropped back down, but I want to see it come lower. It's pretty bullish, in all regards, in my perspective, to be honest. But I think it's just gonna not happen all at once. I think this is going to be the rejection and likely come back, make a higher low. This was making lower lows. This was a higher low. Whatever it does when it drops again will make another higher low. And then we could see it go higher and into the cloud and then come pop out that other side at 47,000. And then we move bullish again. I'm just not convinced of it. Really just not convinced of it. So let's look over here at ETH. It's ETH, I've been just destroying that. The calls is beautiful. Reddit moons, X moons. I think I have like 100,000 of those or something from being on Reddit a lot in the back of the day. So that's cool. What about BTC dominance? Will we have an alt season? I'll let you know in a second. Okay, so first let's go to ETH. ETH doing exactly what I was expecting. Rejecting the Tenkin. We had that nice C-clamp formation here, which pulled it up into the 10 to the 10. So the Kijinsen, sorry, my brain. And so it rejected off that and this level. Okay, which has been a level a few times. Not too many times. We've never been at that high before in the past. We came back into the buy zone where liquidity pockets are, and every single time it comes out and goes right back up. Nice W pattern we're having here. We really would like to see this. If I saw this, I would actually be like, ETH is quite bullish. Well, not quite bullish. If I saw this, I would be like, okay, maybe ETH is going to get bullish. If we saw it break above this level here and start trying to travel towards that one. But likely what we would see here, to be honest, if it does that, if it will break up and break down, it probably will range, you know, either if it does do this, it will probably range and then pop in and start going higher. So let's keep our eyes on ETH as well. But then when we talk about Bitcoin dominance been going up. Look at my chart here. I told you guys, it does not matter what chart it is. When you have an edge-to-edge trade, an edge-to-edge trade is the same on anything, even when it doesn't look like a normal thing. So look, we broke into the cloud and we're breaking up. What did I say would happen? Bitcoin would go first. Why do you think in my thresholds scale out and slowly into Bitcoin? I didn't even do that because Bitcoin was still high, right? It was high until we started coming down here, right? That's when it actually dropped after the first big dip. So, and then it dropped again after the second big dip. Now, what I'm looking at here is Bitcoin generally does this when the alt season's over, finishes, and then it starts to go higher, right? So we can see that happen too, right? Over there. So who's to say that won't happen this time, right? And there's a reason why Get Into BTC was down here, because it just means that we're getting close to that time we should buy Bitcoin. And I've been talking about this for a while. I was not buying Bitcoin way up here. I was buying Bitcoin when we got to 42K, when we got to 38, when we got to, 34, and I was buying in the ranges. So I wasn't getting wrecked. I only got one stop out on that 42 buy that dropped down, and I stopped out, and then I started playing that range. You just have to understand, like, yes, I stop out of 40% of my trades on average, but with a 3 to R ratio, if I make 100 trades, I make so much money. Like, you have to understand, being a good trader does not mean being a 90%, 80% hit rate. It means that your R ratio is high. It means that your risk to reward, when you do risk, you're making 3 times as much as you're losing when you lose, right? And so if you look at an average over time, you can even make 50% of your trades correctly. Be correct only half the time. Every month you're making 2 times as much money as the loss that you do, because do the math. You lose $500. Let's say if you're doing 100 trades, right? Let's say you use 100 trades with $10 each trade, okay? And you lose 50 trades, right? So you lose $500. But then you make 3 times that amount every time you lose. So how much do you make? You're making 2 times the amount of money that you're risking. So you're good. In the end of the day, your R is 3R. So you have to just understand that, like, risk reward ratio is more important than actually being right all the time trading. Greetings from Thailand. Greetings from you, Joseph Joel. We need this a week to stay sideways. Honestly, I'd love to stay sideways. So you don't think your price predictions on Twitter don't apply anymore? Honestly, Thomas, I do. If this was what I thought it was, they are. But remember, those were dip buy orders. Those were not guaranteed to fill. They were low ball orders that if we continued bearish trend, which we still are in right now, so it doesn't change anything, that we could potentially hit those, and those were major support levels. That's all I was posting. So that's what happened. Rune came to a major support level only because we had a hack 3 times in a week. Poor guys. So no one's going to feel safe with them anymore. Can you check Zill? Zill's been on a really nice run, actually, so let's definitely do that. Haven't been looking too much at it, but I know it's had a nice little pump in the last few days. Yeah, so you can see that it's kind of still in this downtrend. It kind of broke out of that there. And let's see how it's kind of like, you can see it kind of broke out of the downtrend and then retested, and now it's kind of pushing higher. But then I also can see like this resistance right here, and there's a hangman. So I don't really, not a hangman, sorry, a shooting star right there at resistance. So I'll be looking right here to see how this closes, because you saw the weekend volume, and then you see Monday been open the whole entire day already, like half the day. And where's the volume here today? Who is buying on the weekend versus today? No one's buying today. Everyone's selling today. So that just gives some perspective on where Zill's at. I wouldn't buy it yet. Wouldn't be ready yet. But if it goes back to somewhere around this zone right here, I would probably buy it around that zone, because that'll be a major support level that's held quite a few times in the past. And now we're going back. It's flipping it from resistance to support now. So that would be good. So watch for that level on Zill to flip up. And that would be right around here. Somewhere in this range. Could be a little bit lower or whatever. But the point is around that. I would draw a box here and just kind of buy in that the liquidity pocket zone. That's a good area usually. Okay. All right. See if anything's hot. Well, we know Alice is hot. We know Sand is hot. We know all these are hot because I made the calls super, super low. Like, we made them on the 4 hours. We made them way down here, $6. And it's just been ripping. And honestly, I'm super upset because Alice missed my entry, my level that I had put a stop that I'd put a target at. And yeah, it never hit. So that was frustrating. And I think the same thing happened on Sand too. No, it didn't happen on Sand. It bounced off the 4 hour, but I was looking on the daily for that. That's still potentially a possible trade to come. Be patient and wait for that retest to happen. That probably will happen. The only thing is that this Chico span happens down here, might not be the right time. So I'll be keeping my eye on Sand to see if it loses any steam. Talking about losing steam. Every time Axie looks like it's done, it just keeps going higher. So gaming is still very relevant. You should be watching all the gaming stuff, the Splinter Lands that's coming and all these other ones. Because damn, so much stuff going on. Is Rune risky? Yeah, it is. If it's got hacked this many times in a week, I would not want to be involved with it right this second. Because it's high risk. It definitely is. Thoughts on DOT? Good question. Let's check it out. So again, these buy zones that I drew were just beautiful. Now, look, this one didn't turn into a liquidity pocket because the problem was when these things happen and you have only like a little bit of data, it only happened like once. Second time doesn't guarantee that it will bounce. And it kind of did actually in that zone. It went below, but it kind of bounced. But didn't really hold it. So what that tells me is that the liquidity pockets didn't hold. And it's more likely down here than it was up there. Or maybe it's more likely down. Us revisit. We revisited this area again. We need to break up, go higher, but let's look on the 4. 4 hours almost like ready to go. You know what I mean? And here's how I know this. So we break out, we reject twice off the 200 EMA on the 4. What will likely happen next is this rejects, comes in, and to the Tenkin, which is normal when you break out. Sometimes, depending. Not a guarantee. Point is that we have a flat Kumo top, potential Kumo twist here happening. And this, we just need more volume. Push it out. Once we get above $15.96, we break above this kind of box around here. Then we'll see a retest and it will start to go higher. So that's what I'm really looking for. And honestly, this is not drawn perfectly. I would, on a 4 hour, it looks different than it does on the daily. But I do think that this is more likely the range. So we'd be looking for, what's $16, $17. We really need to see that break above this level. And all we need to do to know when that's happening is watch volume. Because the hourly will tell us. So if we start seeing volume on the 4 hour, we can go down to the 1 hour and go, okay, our volume is dissipating. It's not actually growing. It's going smaller every hour. So that means it is pretty weak. So it's not going to happen anytime soon. So we, let's see what happens when America wakes up in 2 hours and 45 minutes. Check out Kava. Actually, I have Kava on my list somewhere over here. Where are you, Kava? There you are. It's one of the ones that was on my list, and it's one of the ones that we made trades on, baby. So this was Edge. Oh, this was on it. I think there's a 12. So Kumo breakout retest trade. This one I don't believe I took, actually. I don't believe that one. I was watching this on the 12-hour, but we never got. I think it was here. Watched it on the 12-hour on the original breakout. Didn't happen. We dumped that day. So this would have been a nice breakout trade, but the problem is when you see the cloud very small and thin, it could go either way. So I probably would have avoided this one. Anarchy X. Yes, yes. My brothers. We launched yesterday. Let's see how we're doing. Yeah, we're doing here. The Starlink thing is interesting. It's always at the top. It's definitely nothing to do with Starlink. Oh, we got dog coins dominating the charts again. The Energy X doesn't look super hot. I mean, it's had a nice retracement after a massive move. Right back down to a level of SR level. So maybe it will bounce here. The game is a pay to play, and just to remind you guys what pay to play looks like. Here's one. Here's another one. They do pretty good. Now, when we look at Axie, right? Like, it's pretty insane how this thing just never really retraced. And look how freaking close this level was. I don't know why I had it here. But 1381, this low on this candle was 1413. Missed by 30 cents. This is how close I was to being in a trade that went from $14 all the way to 231% gain. For me, that's a very big gain, so it was a little bit upsetting that I missed that, but this is part of the game. You try to learn how could you have done it better next time. So for this one, right, could I have actually placed this stop better, or this is better, like, at all, right? Usually I do it on the daily because it gives me more accuracy, right? Why did I put it where it was? Right here, I'm not too sure, to be honest, if I did this on the daily, the 8-hour, maybe on the 12-hour. Trying to see what I was seeing. Maybe I was thinking that we might come back in down to the Tenkin right here when we broke up. Too sure. Can't ever remember. Sometimes you just don't know unless you make notes on your chart. But the point is, had I had this and looked at the level right there and saved it, would have been in this trade because that would have been where I should have been putting it. I don't even know why I put it where I put it, but that is obviously the clear support level. And had I done that, well, I would have been in the trade for, another trade that was over 100% gain. The point I'm trying to make is that even me, I miss trades like everybody else, not 100%. My thoughts on Pulse are it's a really cool EVM type experiment. I sacrificed capital that I didn't need, that I don't care of, and I did the option for research. It's always good when someone has done something well and successfully in the past to follow them when they do something again, right? So you may hate Hex, right? But you can understand Pulse Chain because you understand BSC, you understand polygons, you understand Pulse Chain. They're doing the same thing, except they're doing this whole thing with all the coins and copying them all. So that'll be super interesting. But you'd have to be silly to, just not even try to be a part of that because it looks like something really big. That's what I think about it. Now, just on that note, I'm curious how Hex has been doing. I haven't checked. So Hex is on a really nice retracement level. Actually, you've seen this before. And these types of retracements, look at this level. Let me show you something real. You see how that kind of plays into that level right there? It's pretty interesting, isn't it? Right. So we're kind of it's not perfectly drawn, but you know what I mean? Like we're coming down to this Kijinsen. This is a bullish Chiku span above the cloud. So we're checklist, right? Checklist for trades. Checklist number 1. Are we bullish on the Chiku? Yes. Chiku spans above the candlestick. Number 2. Are we above the cloud? Yes. Checklist number 2. Great. Are we bouncing off the Kijin on a hammer candle on the daily? Yes. Number 3. So we have all the signs. Oh, and do we have a bullish TK cross that happened way down here? Yes. 4 to 4. 4 checklisted items. Oh, and what else is there just to give us a little more confluence? We have a hammer candle, which is, you know, showing what it should show off of the Kijin. I mean, if people believe in X right now would be the time to buy it, to be honest. So just giving you guys a heads up. Not advocating this is purely a trade, but that looks like a really nice trade setup. And if you actually count the 39-40% retrace, that's probably yes. So I'd watch for that. Keep your mind open. All right, let me see. Any of you guys got Omi? I'm gonna do a couple more. Then I'm getting out of here because I'm tired. Wrapped Omi. It doesn't look good against ETH, I can tell you that. But on a downtrend for sure. But yeah, Omi. Let me see if I can find it on here. Omi. There we go. I don't know if this is a scam though. This only has like a couple hundred. Low reputation. I don't know if this is the right one, guys. And I don't really know where it is, where it's listed. Definitely not that. So I don't know. I have to look on another. They have to list on a proper exchange. I don't even think they've listed on a proper exchange yet. That was my biggest criticism of them. They're on like Bitforex or whatever. Got me Anarchy NFT super rewarded. Yeah, man. Anarchy's gonna be so fun. You guys should definitely play it. Hey, coach, show us your color selection for your indicators so we have similar charts. My colors are way off and it confuses me. All you have to do is just double click on there and just change whatever you want the chart to look at. The candles will look that way. So just do that. And then you can change it to yellow or whatever color. And then with the Chiku, so my style, I make my Tenkin green, my Kijin red, my lagging white. And then, yeah, I leave everything else the same. So there's really not too much about my indicators. And then I just have EMAs. I have a yellow EMA, right? You see my 21 EMA. I have my orange, right? My orange EMA. And then I have my blue EMA, which is 100. And I do that because that's what works for my brain. So you have to set up your own chart the way it works for you. Question. Smart contracts for ETH are going to be very for ETH now for ADA and for a lot of projects are going to be bigger. Sorry, than with stuff that they'll be able to do. 30, yeah, that's true. 30% is locked up. It makes it jump up. Yeah, it's not 30%, but yeah, you're right. I saw your video on the stolen BTC. Yeah, the scams. You guys got to contact Liddy. I don't have time, honestly, unfortunately, to actually get on to all your messages and stuff because I've had like 400 people messaging me about the scams, and I'm like, yo, it's not what I do here, guys. You got to contact Liddy. That's why I brought them on, so you know who to contact so that they can vote and see. Thoughts on MobiPay? MobiPay is going to be premier. It's going to take time. I told everyone when I invested in this early last year, I think it was a year ago now or so, that MobiPay is a long-term project. You have to think about it. I've known these guys for over 3 years. They have 100% like the most regulated, product. They started unraveling new stores. I think MBX is an absolute gem. Same with Freeway Token, two of the most biggest gems that everyone is not talking about. I think these people are crazy, okay? Because I just want to show you something, all right? So let me go to my Freeway Lite just to give you guys perspective because, like, I've been telling you guys, yes, Orbit. A lot of people in crypto, I find they tell you to do stuff. You never know if they actually put their money where their mouth is, right? I do that because I think it's valuable for you guys to see that I do that. I think there's too much shit in this industry, and I mean that by there's too many people being like not really doing what they say they're doing. Right? So here we go. So you can see my contribution right here. You can see my rewards. I've had it in for 2 days. I have $200,000 in there. I made $388 in 2 days. That's pretty freaking awesome. And then remember, they're going to have the referral rewards. So if you tell your friends, you're going to get even more than that, a little bit kickbacks and stuff. It's pretty cool. So I'm actually going on vacation, as I've told you guys. I'm topping this up because I'm allowed to have this being at parity with that. So I'm going to put 500 grand. And when I go on vacation for a month, I'm going to leave my Yield app and my Orbit. And I'm going to let them grow. And I'm going to show you guys how in 1 month, just by being patient and doing nothing, I actually can pay for my whole entire family's trip to the US for a whole entire month in 4 different cities. Just to give you some perspective on where you can get to. And I was probably where almost all of you are now, not even like 2 years ago. So this is the time to grow yourself and understand and really set yourself forward, because this is how you do it. Damn, bro, how long have I been live? Not that long, about 55 minutes, just about ending right now. Because yeah. So we can go to my Yield app as well, because they're also one of the channel sponsors. We love them here. And we love them not because of any other reason than they provide better returns on investments for all of us than Celsius and Nexo do. And Orbit invest our money for us so we don't have to. So that's awesome too. So going to Yield app, let's see how we've been doing. I got like $335 of earnings. In the last 24 hours, I have $637. So in a month, about $1 million to have that. So just gives you guys perspective as to like me actually doing what I say I do, because I think a lot of people don't do that. So I had a couple of questions recently about the DXY. So DXY is the US dollar currency index, and it tells us how strong the US dollar is. So when it was dumping this whole way down, that was bearish, right? But when it started pumping, that was not so bullish for Bitcoin or equities, because when this starts to pump, those two markets drop. So you'll see that, our YM will drop, our SPX will drop, and these drops are generally correlated to the DXY also pumping. So you see these big pumps. If you go on and you look at things like the SPX, those days where we dumped hard are generally the same days that we pumped hard. The same times that the DXY pumped hard. And the opposite too, when it dumped really hard, as it's been dumping this whole entire time, you can see that equities go up as this has been dropping. Why would that happen? Well, people know when your dollar value is dropping, you put it into equities because those are companies and they may not drop as fast, or they might be better stored for value. A lot of people are looking at Bitcoin now. I wrote my first contract. It doesn't do much, but you got your hands dirty. Good for you. Honestly, most of you guys that are like, I don't know what I'm doing in life, or I'm not really sure, or like you're a patient person and you're someone who likes being on the computer and likes solving really complex tasks and stuff. Learn to decode, man. I've got a few of my good buddies to learn to decode, and they're like so thankful to do that. It's a skill that's always going to be needed forever, especially the way the world works now. So go learn that skill, because even if you think you won't learn a lot, in a year you probably will learn more than half the developers out here, because there's always something new to learn, and a lot of the time they're self-taught, so you can actually really put yourself forward really quickly. I'm just getting busier and busier. It's taking away time to trade. Yeah, so this is why you go on to things like Orbit, you go to things like Yield app, because when you're busy, like when I'm going on my trip, I don't want to think about it all day. What's up, Australia? Great to have you here, Richard. I'm glad that you're here, Brandon. Brandon. I have a brother, Brandon. Hopefully it's all the same. But yeah, it's great that you're here, brother. I hope I'm an inspiration to you guys, because look, I was all of you guys. Last cycle, at the end of it, I was at the same place most of you guys are at, right? Like, I made all the mistakes I had to make. The only difference between me and a lot of my friends is I learned so much from my mistakes that I planned for years, 2 years, 2.5 years, exactly how I would do it this cycle, how I would do it in a way that wasn't being a jerk. If I was going to sell a little bit of my token, I would sell a little bit at a time if I wanted to, never hurting projects, never hurting momentum. And I always thought about how I would do these things to be the most helpful to a project I could be, without like being greedy and that stuff. And I think that a lot of people around me understand that we, there's just like so much things that we can do. What is this thing? Vietnam is full of sheeple going into the third week of lockdown. Yeah, so I've been in Thailand, and that's why I'm going to the US, because the US doesn't do. And the reality is honestly is like, it feels like seasonal flu is not a thing anymore. And now they're just calling it a COVID variant, and it's odd to me. I never not been sick in my life this long. Like, I haven't gotten sick for like 2.5 years, 3 years. Like, it's crazy because I don't leave my house. I don't really get to go out and do anything. Nuts. So I feel for all you guys, man. Like, I was saying this, let's go real talk here for a sec. But I was saying that the difference between before COVID and after, you know what I've noticed in the 18 months when I really reflect on it? I realize that the human element of friendship, of socialization, of actually being around other people, not just talking on the internet to your computer screen, it has no real feel to it. And so I'm just mentioning this because I find it really important to talk about the feel of it. Good guys. So unfortunately, because of COVID, I couldn't send out the shades. The everything has been closed, and it would have taken a bunch of stuff to deal with, just getting into you guys. So the list of 10 of you, I still have all the shades. They're right here. I have the whole box sitting right here beside me. Box of shades. Here you go. Just to prove it. Here it is. So we got the whole box, but I couldn't send them to you. But when I get back from my trip, I'm hoping that things will be more normal and I can send everybody the shades that I had. We're also ordered another box of shades so we can do other giveaways, and soon we'll have the merch shop and club. So much stuff is great. Blocking our smiles. Yes, blocking your smiles, taking away your humanity. That's what I'm talking about, man. Like, because the human element of hugging your friend or giving them props, or like just seeing their face and seeing them smile and laughing together and having a beer, and like just those normal simple things, when you really go and sit down and think about it, that's what you really miss. This is why I feel like the whole world is in like this mildly depressed state, and it seems like a lot of people don't know why. They don't reflect on why they're feeling like that. So they sit at home and they're not hungry because they're mildly depressed, right? Or they feel like lost or bored all the time, or like they don't know what they're doing in life. That's because no human element. When you have other people and you do things and you have experiences, there's a reason why people who have more experiences in life are more happy than the people who have the most amount of money. It's experiences of what bring joy to you, not money. And you know what the true fact is? And I've told this to a few of my friends recently. Told them that, like, all of us, you guys included, want to hit a mill, right? I hit it. I wanted 2 things in this cycle. I wanted to make 100 people a millionaire, right? I actually wanted 200, but I hit 100. I wanted to make 100 people a millionaire this cycle. And, I just wanted to like be a millionaire myself. I wanted to hit millions. I wanted to crush it. So when you guys get to that first million, you think you're going to have some type of revelation and you're going to be more important, or you're going to think that it matters so much, and you're going to wake up and you're going to go, fuck. Because you're going to realize that $1 million in the bank did nothing for you. And then when you get to 2 million and 3 and 10, you'll feel exactly the same way. You'll realize that the money does not actually make you happy. So my goal was to be a millionaire. The other goal was to feel amazing about helping other people do it too. Achieve both goals. Which one do you think made me happier? Doing it myself, or seeing how it made me feel when all these other people could do things they wanted to do? That was the beautiful part of it all. And the thing is, you don't have to be one of the 100 this time, because there's going to be a whole nother cycle. It's not the end of the world. But a lot of people put a lot of effort into learning and educating themselves and understanding themselves and understanding, how they felt about things. So when you really touch in with your emotions, there's a reason why I haven't traded a lot. It's not because I can't trade. It's not because I can't watch the charts and actually make a bunch of trades every day. It's because I've been feeling kind of mildly depressed. I'm smiling, I feel normal and stuff. But the reality is, guys, that I haven't been as hungry. I've noticed things like the drive is not as there. You may have noticed that my videos don't happen as often. That maybe not, that's probably because of burnout mostly. But I just want you guys to understand that it's really important to understand yourself and learn how you feel first, because everyone else is going to tell you, including me, what they're doing, but it's going to confuse you. So the number one piece of advice is like, just stop following everybody. Pick one person, two people you really think actually care, learn how they trade, understand it, and you'll start to see success. The number one reason why most people suck at trading is because they're always looking for a cheat code or some type of way to get ahead, some cool new indicator. And the reality is, it's all in your freaking head. 99% of trading is in your own head. It's watching this trade. Let's say you go in this trade, right? And it retests and it starts going higher. And then it starts to break down. And it's like, what do you do? Right? So I just really want you guys to understand that money should not be your number one goal with all this, because the money will let you do what you want. It will give you freedom. It will let you financially not have stress about your bills. But after that, what is it going to give you? Once your bills are all paid and you bought everything you want, what is it going to do for you? Nothing. So experience is so important. Experience in trading is so important. We learn from our bad experiences. So one thing I'll tell you is, if you guys all are at home right now and you master risk management, if you master how to divide your risk by your stop loss, because it's that simple, I'm telling you right now, if you can do just that and be a shitty trader, you'll make money. You'll make money. If you follow a system, have no emotion, and that's it, you'll make money, even as a crappy trader. Learn risk management, because people can give me $100 million and I know how to manage that the same way I manage 10 or 1 or 100,000. Everything is exactly the same. So if you're even starting with $200, it does not matter. Do the math, figure out the exponential gains that you'll make if you follow a risk management model. Remember, if you turn 1 into 2 and then 2 into 4 and then 4 into 8 and then 8 into 16, do that a few more times. And if you do and you go on a streak of 100 days, how much money you have if you only started $1? Then you'll understand what I'm talking about. Not about right now, it's about long term. Okay, club update, coach. Club is basically done. We were testing the contract and a few different times, and we tested the contract the third time and we found a little bug. This is why we're testing it, right? So we're working on that. Website's pretty much done. Token contract, once that's done, it's perfect. And then you guys will be right. So when I come back from vacation, because I don't want to launch it and then leave and like be on a plane or anything happening, whatever. I want to be fully around for everything, so that things go very smoothly for everyone. So that will be club. That should be ready soon. I'm trying to get it so that we can at very least do the airdrop, the first chunk of the airdrop that we're going to do for the freeholders, and so that they can then connect their MetaMask and go and use some of the stuff that we have set up already. But yeah, it's coming along. I know it's taking a bit longer, but with the market conditions, we all voted in the club actually to take a little bit longer anyways, because we want to launch when the market's right. And so yeah, that's the answer for that. Yes, I have to keep it real. So learn to take profits is a really important thing. What you guys can do to learn, other than watching my channels, there'll be the club website. You'll be able to take all the courses. I'm going to be doing webinars and stuff in there for clubs, club goers, so, and also non-club goers. And we're going to really help educate a lot of people in the bear market when that happens. It may not be forever, right? We could only have another 2-3 months and then we could pop up. You never know. I've given that scenario a few different times. But how we could pop up, we go on the other side of the cloud. If we didn't break down below this level, then we were okay. I talked about this several times. Everyone's like, oh, it's going down to 22. You said so. I said, if then, not now, then this happens. So the one thing you have to understand is it never broke below my lower level. So why would I have been looking for this? Do I have buy orders here and here? Yeah, I do. I do. Why? Well, I have a lot of capital that's not deployed right now because I have a lot of stable coins. So what is the risk of me opening a trade with a limit order down here and over here? And if they fill, wonderful, awesome, great for me. I'll be happy. So that's how you have to look at it, not emotionally. Oh my God, it's going down. It's, oh shit, I missed it. It's going up. I don't care. Just like you miss it, cool. Wait for the next time to get it. That's it. So I'm gonna buy shady coins, like because of my shades. Okay, I'll take my shades off. You guys, a minute with me before we leave. So you literally trade solely based off risk reward. When Bitcoin was 58, I sold. There was so much risk and not much reward. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. But the thing is that's why I talk about risk management, because if you understand that like some trades are better to take than others, like for example, if you have all this resistance right here, you know, you got the Kumo top, you had the 100-day EMA, you have the Kumo bottom, 100 EMA and the 200 EMA, and it rejected all those, right? So like you would expect that probably is not going to happen the first time, break through all of them and go into the cloud. And usually with after like 7 days of green candles, you'll see a couple, you'll see like a little bit of stagnation. So we might pop into the cloud down here, like in this zone, pop in and start going up. But I'm expecting that to happen because that's usually what happens. And after years of writing down in a notebook all the different trades and things that I do, and then, you know, transferring that knowledge into new notebooks and stuff, so I really journal and I know what my best trades are, to the point where I don't even need to journal anymore because I already kind of have an idea of which trades are the best because of which situations they're. So Brandon, if you want to be in the club, that will come soon. So just be patient and it will be there. Keep that. Now, if you guys are here and you haven't subscribed or liked, definitely do that right now because we're about to end the stream. It's really great to have Ixswap on. I think what they're doing is really, really interesting, and you all should go do your research. They will be announcing information on terms of how to invest, if there's launch pads and stuff. So that's all new. It's something that you can take time right now because they haven't announced it to do your research. But if you understand what Uniswap did for DEXs, you'll understand what Ixswap can do for, you know, the security token space. And security tokens are being used a lot more. You see what happened with Liddy Capital. So there's a lot of projects like them that would be perfect for them, for Ixswap. So that's something really. All right. Hey, coach, do I need to worry about price spikes on Binance margin? Binance margin or futures? If the spikes, guys, these spikes down and these spikes up, they are liquidation wicks. So what happens is people have shorts from like here, and they have stop losses like here and here maybe, and then maybe here, and then they push the price up really hard and fast. And what happens when you get liquidated is it then buys or sells the asset depending on if you're short or long. Well, if you're short, it instantaneously buys long, right? Like on a futures market. So if it starts smashing all those stop losses and all those like liquidations, it starts pushing the price higher on a short. Same as on a long, so many people were long here, so they slammed the price down hard here and liquidated all the people who longed, thinking that was a breakout of this triangle that everyone drew on their charts. Right? So that's what I was looking at. Okay, couple seconds and we'll get off of the channel. Coach taught me to be patient. Johnny James says, Coach taught me to be patient. I was always wanting my cash in something. Totally helped me change my mindset. Exactly. Guys, mindset is the most important part of trading. Number one most important part of success of trading is your mindset. Understanding how you feel, understanding what the risk is, understanding that you're emotional that day and not to trade because it's a bad time, you fought with your girlfriend or whatever. These things matter a lot. So understand yourself. Because if you understand your mindset, one thing I've learned, you know, getting into the point where I actually moved into a position in life where I hadn't been financially, I started spending time with similar people. And I learned that we all have similar types of mindsets when it comes to how we think about things. And I've also learned with professional traders that we also have a way of and a mindset of how we think about things. And it's something that you guys should read about. There's lots of books on mindset. I do have a bunch shared with the club. So if you guys get in there, you'll be able to get access. If you are a YouTube channel member, you should have access to a bunch of books that were in a Google Doc attached to one of the videos for the channel members. So if you can't see those, just try to let us know and we'll try to make those so that you can see them. But you may only see them and not know that only you can see them as well. So just keep that in mind. Can you buy MBX? I have millions of MBX. I love that project. I think it's going to do extremely well long term because of all the stuff in their app. You just got to be patient because when you're trying to start in the US and Canada, it's a harder game and it just takes longer. But that doesn't mean they won't be successful. It just means that you have to be more patient and think of it more like an equity investment. All right. So thanks so much for being here, guys. Yeah, the spot chart, it didn't. On the big... So let me just show you if you want to just show you. So Binance futures, let's just go symbol wise and let's go to BTC. And there's the spike. So this is what I'm talking about, right? Like this is not natural. You didn't see this on any other chart, right? You only saw that this went to 48K. It's pretty clear what happened there, right? They liquidated a bunch of people. So where do we get the contract address for which token? You have to let me know. But Club Token is not open yet. We haven't launched it. And that's because I'm leaving in 3 days to go to the US for a whole month. So once that's done, guys, guaranteed I will get you right back on track. The FYN is dumping so much. I'm not too sure why. I couldn't tell you. So unfortunately, I don't know. Okay. So 5-cent prediction on MBX is low because it already has been there. So I think it could go higher than that in the long term. It's again a long-term 2-year investment. You got to be patient and not worry about price action. All right, I think I'm going to leave because it's been a very, very, very long stream. I will be in the US, starting in Florida, then going over to Texas, then over to LA, and then finishing off in New York City for the whole month. So if you guys live in and around those areas or any of that, you let me know. You can hit me up on Twitter or on Telegram at Coach K Crypto. I'm the only at Coach K Crypto on all platforms, so make sure that it's the real me. And good to go. All right, guys, thanks so much for being here. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe and have yourselves a great day. Things aren't looking so bad in crypto land, so let's use that positive energy and end the stream. See you guys.